whether it's Nedbank or other partner banks, it is imperative that for us to look at this market as our own backyard, given the fact that from as of last year, we've seen that the geopolitics globally are changing. There's increased protectionism coming from superpowers across the globe. We have at our own doorsteps, not just as Southern Africa, East Africa, West Africa, a market that we can exploit. And the funding models are also evolving. So while it might seem near impossible, when we work together with partnerships in the development finance institutions, the global and international financing institutions, it is becoming easier to access that funding, specifically because the rails that have been put in place by the AFCFTA are key to unlocking those opportunities.
All right. We're going to continue with this conversation shortly. We're coming to you live from the sidelines of the African Union Summit that gets underway this weekend. Lots happening here in Ethiopia, but the key thing is about where does South Africa find itself in this moment? And I don't know if I'm the only one hearing it, but it looks like we are getting a wake-up call, catching a wake-up call as a country, and we have to put ourselves out there because clearly there's a lot that is at stake for us going forward, and that must not be lost on us as South Africans. Looking at the time now, it's just gone 9:30. Let me take you over to the news desk with Anne Musa.
In the headlines, the Competition Commission has raided the premises of 4 scrap metal companies operating in Germiston, Nigel, Vanderbijlpark and Hammanskraal in Gauteng. The Commission is probing allegations that several major players in the industry may have coordinated price adjustments for shredded and processed scrap metal used in the production of long steel products. Police watchdog IPID Assistant Director Tulani Magagula has continued to testify before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Yesterday, he denied allegations that he deliberately delayed investigations into suspended Ekurhuleni Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi's conduct. And the African Transformation Movement ATM says President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address lacked substance. Ramaphosa delivered the address at the Cape Town City Hall yesterday. I'll have details on these and other stories at 10.
Welcome to it. This is season 1 of Playlist happening right here at Maloka, and believe me, it's a party.
Set your reminder every Friday, 9 p.m. Playlist at Maloka is in the building.
Welcome to it. This is season 1 of Playlist happening right here at Maloka, and believe me, it's a party.
Set your reminder every Friday, 9 p.m. Playlist at Maloka is in the building.
BVB's current mission is to stay close to the log leaders and win every match in the second round of the league. Meanwhile, the Carnival Club is eager to reveal their secret plan on match day. This is the Bundesliga, football as it's meant to be. Catch Borussia Dortmund versus FSV Mainz on Friday, 13 February at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Masandawana chase victory to book their place in the quarterfinals. But standing in their way is a familiar face. Former coach Rulani Mokoena returns home from the People's Club, aiming to end the Cabo Yellow dream. This is the CAF Champions League. Catch Mamelodi Sundowns up against MC Alger this Saturday, 14 February at 2:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
#SAFM Talking Point. Talking Point.
All right, you're listening to the Talking Point, a special broadcast that we're bringing you this morning out of Addis Ababa on the sidelines of the African Union Summit 2026, where over the weekend, heads of states, governments will be deliberating on a number of issues, including continental integration. And, I was looking at ironies and thinking about how funny it is that for this year, of course, part of the theme for this particular gathering, there's a significant focus on water. And we know that back home, water has really been a big issue, and we've seen how it's culminated just over the last couple of days. Yesterday, the president talking about it in his State of the Nation address, and we'll talk briefly about what then the continental conversation around water and water security is. My guests are still here with me, Ms. Treasure Mapanga, the COO of the African Electronic Trade Group, Dr. Terence Sibia, Group Managing Executive, Nedbank, and Neville Maki, who's the CEO of Brand South Africa. So, Terence, I want to come to you and just talk a little bit then about the perspective of capital, because we know that a big constraint for businesses is capital. Now, is the issue that Africa is capital constrained, or are we struggling more with coordination and project preparation? So where do the bottlenecks lie? What are the challenges? Why are we unable to seemingly get this off the ground, especially if the opportunity is as vast as you are saying it is?
Thanks, Kathy. And again, capital is not the challenge. There are enormous amounts and sources of funding across the continent, not just from commercial banks, but also funding institutions, like I've mentioned earlier, global financial institutions, DFIs, IFIs. It's really how we package these projects. And if we just for a second stand still on what the AFCFTA means for development of infrastructure, for instance. Treasure has touched a little bit on ports, road, rail. That enables the movement of goods, and that the investment in infrastructure then becomes critical. And there are instruments now that are evolving in the financial services world that enable the fast tracking and the de-risking of projects that help us improve that infrastructure so that trade can be enabled. First, blended finance. We are seeing an emergence of blended finance, basically public finance blended with private finance, to make sure that we can de-risk and crowd in commercial funders. That's gaining traction. Secondly is local currency financing. Typically, large projects have been funded on hard currency instruments that have led to tremendous volatility. When the dollar fluctuates, our projects either sink or they swim. So with funding more locally and being able to have some stability between countries and intra-regional funding mechanisms with local currency, we reduce that volatility and de-risk projects that commercial funders can then be satisfied with the tender and satisfied with those projects. A third one, which I'll mention very quickly, is our reliance on sovereign guarantees. We've often gone to governments and said, we as commercial banks are willing to fund project X, road, rail, public capital funding like hospitals and schools, provided there's a government guarantee. Now, many of these governments have been put under strain. Many of them means there's lots of pressure on those government guarantees. As we see evolving now, we're seeing some targeted guarantees, which involve inter alia DFIs together with sovereign guarantees, which blends it a little bit and gives the projects a little bit more credibility and de-risks them. So that's another instrument that's...
Moving on to the next case. This case you identify as Patfontein CAS 8602/2023. Do you see that?
Yes.
Can you deal with this over the next few pages, and at the conclusion of that at page 11, you then provide the status of the case as we speak?
Yes.
Is that correct? Can you highlight then the details regarding this case before you advise the commissioners as to the status of this case?
Okay. Before I read my statement here regarding Patfontein, I will just state that this case was open because the complainant went to the municipality to complain. So members of EMPD assisted him by taking down his statement. The same statement that was taken by members of EMPD was used to open this case. So from the word go, EMPD was aware of this matter because they are the one who assisted the complainant to open the case. Even though the EMPD statement was not in full details, you will not get the whole story, what was happening there. It must be unpacked so in order for the NPA to prefer the correct charges on this matter. So I'll start by reading, what I will be reading, it will be the second statement that was obtained after I have taken over the matter. On 8 January 2023, between 2200...
You have February here, you just said January.
My apology. On 8 February 2023, between 2200 and 1500, the following day, 2 EMPD members and a white male in civilian clothing reportedly raided a plot at Marigold, Patfontein. I didn't write here, the 2 members we are referring to Adrian Norman Mackenzie and Keisha Listol. And the civilian person we are referring to Etienne van der Walt. They seized stock valued at over 1 million rands, along with the truck and trailer it was loaded with. On the suspect allegedly fled on arrival of the police. This is the summary of the suspect, which is the 3 members I'm talking about. This was their own allegation, this small paragraph.
Mr. Magagula, this white male civilian, was he a reservist or a police informant, or was he just an ordinary citizen?
This civilian is
Etienne
not,
van der Walt.
yeah, it's not a reservist. He owns a security company, registered security company, Titan Security, if I'm not mistaken.
Please continue.
I was the investigator in the case. I attached the docket of this matter marked TLM 1. The EMPD stated that the goods were intended for transport to Kinshasa, DRC, where a case was reportedly registered. They seized items were handed to a Congolese national claimed to be the lawful owner as per the Patfontein case 269 of 2023. Through the statement from the complainant, a Malawian national and transport businessman revealed that he was hired by a Zimbabwean national to load and transport a consignment by truck and trailer to Mpumalanga, Akonuku. The consignment was stored on a plot owned by another Zimbabwean national. An argument occurred between the truck owner and the plot owner prior to the arrival of the EMPD members. The complainant, on request, filed an additional statement. He stated that upon arrival, EMPD handcuffed the owner, contradicting their version that suspect had fled. The complainant later arrived and observed his truck being driven away. He contacted a female EMPD officer escorting the truck, during which an argument occurred telephonically. The complainant followed the truck until he was blocked by an accident on Craft Road, Germiston. The complainant checked the Benoni and Eraton SAP pounds and confirmed that the truck was not booked in. He requested tracking of the vehicle, however, the tracker was no longer functional. The invoice of the consignment was obtained and filed in the case docket, together with photographs of the truck after it was booked into the EMPD pound. A SAP 299 form for the disposal of seized stolen property to the lawful owner and the passport of the alleged owner of the consignment as per EMPD records. The statement of the owner of the plot, a Zimbabwean national, has not been obtained. The said owner has declined to make a statement, citing fear for his personal safety. His evidence is material and essential to the substantiation of the case against the EMPD members implicated in this matter. I further state that the statement of the owner of the goods has not been obtained, as his whereabouts are presently unknown. Despite reasonable efforts, he has not been located. I further state that, as previously indicated, the EMPD engaged the service of a truck driver to remove the truck from the plot and transport it to the municipal pound. The said truck driver cannot be traced, and his statement has not been secured. As a result, his role and level of involvement in the matter cannot be determined at this stage. There is a prima facie case against EMPD members and the civilian involved. This is evident from the fact that the exhibit contained in the truck were not recorded in the SAP-13 property register. Furthermore, no case was opened by the EMPD members in relation to the impounding of the truck and its trailers.
May I stop you there for the moment? Mr. Magagula, firstly, I think, please pull out your annexure file, the first file. So I think it should read Magagula Annexures 2 of 3, the big file. And I note at your paragraph,
The file is...
the spine should read your name, Tulani Magagula, Annexures, file 2 of 3.
2 of 3, yes.
Yes.
I got it.
If you could have that file and locate TLM1. And Annexure TLM1 will start at page 1. Now, before we deal with that paragraph you were at where I stopped you, I think we need to rearrange the file ever so slightly. At paragraph 28, you say this incident occurred on the 8th of February 2023.
Yes.
Correct? You have annexed so far 4 case dockets.
Yes.
In these proceedings.
Yes.
And only this one concerns an event of the 8th of January 2023. The others are on different dates. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, if you go to that same file, to page 272, that is a statement by Brigadier Mkwanazi. Are you there?
Not yet.
272.
It's a page.
Page 272, top right corner.
In red at the
In
top.
red. It's a handwritten statement.
Yes.
Yes, now, that 272 I appears under annexure TLM2. I think it is either misfiled or something went wrong in the copying. Because if one has regard to paragraph 2 thereof, Brigadier Mkwanazi states, I would like to confirm that Officer Kisha Lee Stolz and Officer Adrian Mackenzie were on duty on the 8th of February 2023. Do you see that?
Yes,
On the second paragraph.
I see it.
Because the subsequent event, the next case occurs on a different date. So I believe this statement is misfiled under TLM2, and I was suggesting that we take it out and take it to TLM1, because it is in respect of the Patfontein case, at least if the date that Brigadier Mkwanazi reference is anything to go by. Would I be correct?
Well, Mr. If you look at the top of that same page, it has a Hillbrow and different case number. Can you take that into account?
2023,
Yeah, it says Hillbrow, 797, I think, 0323.
yes, and if you go to TLM2, Commissioner, starting at, let's say, page 93, which is where it starts. As I understand it, that case is two 215. It says /03/2022. In his statement, it reads 215/07/2022. So in any event, this document doesn't correlate to the cast numbers allocated to TLM2. We could flag it, we could keep it, but judging by the date, it would have appeared to be misfiled.
Whose handwriting is at the top? The Hillbrow case, the CAS 79703/2023. Whose handwriting is that, if you know it?
The handwriting at the top is my handwriting.
Your handwriting.
Yes.
Perhaps, Ms. Lop, you should confer with him.
I think we'll confer because
Yes,
the
yes.
cast number written there, Hillbrow, is yet a third case, which he's going to deal with. So we will flag it for the moment and we'll come back and deal with this statement and see what is the correct docket it belongs to, okay?
Yes.
Maybe also when you confer to note in that page 272, the
Yes.
very last line in brackets, it says Stones.
That's Hillbrow. Thank you. Getting back to your statement then, but please don't close that file. You were at your paragraph 38, where you say there's a prima facie case against EMPD members. You had indicated at the start of your testimony that the original complaint against these members was laid by the complainants with the EMPD.
Yes.
Please turn to page 64 of TLM1.
Yes.
And I see that that's on Ikuruleni Metropolitan Police Integrity and Standards Form And the heading of that document is Statement of Complainant / Accused / Witness. Do you see that?
Yes.
Then it starts and say I and states a name. Who is that person who has completed this form? The name written there.
It is the complainant, Yusuf Thomas Milos. The statement was taken by Metro Police Officer Owen Mark Prinsloo.
And if you go to page 66, that is the end of that document. I see this was actually deposed to and commissioned on the 11th of February 2023. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, would you like to deal very briefly then with what the complainant at the time disclosed to EMPD regarding this incident?
I will read the statement.
Okay.
That on Wednesday, 8th of February 2023, my truck was loading goods in Patfontein area. Around 2000, I was called that there are police officers there who claims the goods we were loading were stolen. I told my drivers not to move the truck unless to the police station. Brian, who hired the truck, insisted we go to offload the load, but I refused. And further, further use of the truck.
If I may say, it would appear that the photocopy cuts off perhaps the last word on a sentence to the right. So that would read, I refused any further use of the truck.
Yes.
Okay. May continue.
In the morning of Thursday, In the morning of Thursday, 9 February 2023, around 6 a.m., I received a WhatsApp call from an officer of EMPD asking why I'm not allowing her to deliver the goods with my truck. She used cell phone number, I see end there, 082597.
Don't read it out, please.
Oh, okay. I told her to find another truck and not to use mine. She got angry and threatened to pound my truck and link me to the crime. On Thursday afternoon around 3 p.m., the officers chased away my driver from my truck. When my driver reached my office without the truck, and informed me that the officer chased him away and she put her own driver in the truck. I drove there in Patfontein where truck was loaded and found the truck being driven out, and there were 3 Metro police vehicles in front, and behind it I followed them to the N12 freeway where I even took pictures and video. I called the officer asking her where she was taking my truck to, but didn't answer. Instead, she
blocked my number.
Blocked my number, yes. I followed them until the interchange of N12, R21, and N3, where I was blocked by accident, and they proceeded. I lost them there and couldn't see them again. I then went to Patfontein Police to report theft of truck, where I was told they can't open the case as they saw the truck moving with police escort. As they didn't think it's stolen. On Friday morning, I was informed by Brian that officer took my truck to Boksburg EMPD pound. I went there to see my truck and found it with stolen parts and diesel 920 liter drained, auto shift and ECU also stolen.
And this, you say, is the statement of the complainant?
Yes.
If you go further on page 67, there is another statement.
Your microphone.
apologies.
Please repeat everything you said.
I was going to say, so you say that was the statement of the complainant as it was given to EMPD?
Yes.
On 11 February 2023?
Yes.
If you go further on, then at 67 is another statement. You don't have to call out the name. Just the person listed there is identified as a truck driver.
Yes.
And then you can deal with the contents of that statement. Thank you.
Okay. This is the truck driver hired by the complainant. This is the lawful driver. I'll read his statement.
Thank you.
I was at work on Thursday early morning when a police officer and I beg your pardon. I was at work on Thursday early morning when a police officer and my workmates came to my truck and informed me that I need to off-hook my trailer and go help one that was stuck. I off-hooked my trailer and went to help the off-hook truck. I then hooked the trailer that were loaded there in Padfontein. The officers instructed me to drive the truck and follow them to an unknown location, but my boss, owner of the truck, told me not to drive anywhere but to police only. We stood there all day until around 3 p.m. when the officer chased me out of the truck. I then went to our company and reported to my boss that the police chased me out of the truck. That is all I can say.
And if we go further, then at page 69, I see that, well, the deponent signs, it appears to also be dated 11th February 2023, and it's commissioned at the bottom on the 11th February 2023. You see that?
Yes.
Now, if to go back to page 57, in fact, we start at 55. Are these the documents pertaining to the truck in question?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to move forward to page 59. Page 59 to page 63 are pictures in your docket.
Yes.
Are these the pictures? What pictures are these? There are 5.
In page 59 is the picture of the load that was loaded in the truck in a form of boxes.
And the next page?
And 60 is a picture of the truck and its trailer with registration shown.
And now at page 61?
It shows the trailer.
And also at 62?
Is the trailer.
And 63?
A trailer and a little bit of the horse.
Okay, now where do these pictures come from?
These pictures were taken whilst the truck was at the pound of EMPD by the victim, the complainant.
Did they form part of the docket at the time the complaint was laid?
No, it didn't form the part.
They were provided to you?
Yes.
With the document then I originally referred you to, the complaint to EMPD at page 64 and the second report at page 67, what do you suggest the EMPD could have done about this matter? What is contained in those documents and what would it have enabled EMPD to do?
The EMPD should have opened a disciplinary hearing against the members because they had the information at that time. Furthermore, to get more evidence, the important part, it is the pound itself. The pound plays an important role because it's where we found who booked the truck in. What was the reason for booking the truck in the pound? Is there any case number for the truck to be booked in? And EMPD is in better position. They know when a car must be pounded. One or two mistakes in a vehicle doesn't warrant the car to be pounded. For instance, the car, when you look at the inner teeth, it says this car is white, and here they are seeing black car. Maybe during the registration, because the car now has been owned by many people, there might be somewhere where something went wrong. So it doesn't warrant for the car to be booked in, to be taken out of the road. So you need to follow up and do further and give a traffic fine if it warrants a traffic fine. So the EMPD was in better position to go to that pound to see what was the reason for this truck to be pounded here. So, and when you look here, the procedure, those EMPD members didn't follow the procedure because they didn't book the truck in the pound. They dumped the truck in the pound. Somebody has to note the truck that, okay, this truck entered the pound on this time and the people were in hurry. They ran away. So that will have given EMPD something to work on. And it is not a criminal offense for them dumping the truck there. But the misconduct is there. They know the procedure, how to do things according to their standing orders and rules.
And when you took over, when you started investigating the matter as IPID, were you able to obtain statements from the implicated officers, EMPD officers?
Yes.
I have in annexure TLM 1 from page 9, statements obtained during the interview of the what are called suspects.
Yes.
And the first one starts at page 13. And that would appear to be a statement, according to page 13, line 1, of Keisha Lee Stalls, a white female employed by EMPD as a constable. And the second paragraph then states, on 8th February 2023, at that time, at 2300 hours, she was contacted by a confidential informant regarding a suspected stolen load in Patfontein on a plot. Then she sets out her version of what transpired.
Yes.
The next statement is at page 24. And that now is the statement of Adrian Norman Mackenzie. And he states, I, Adrian Norman Mackenzie, employed by Ekurhuleni as a Metro Police officer, gave statement. At paragraph 2, he then states, on 8th February 2023 at about 23 hours, I was contacted by Kay Stalls, who informed me that she had received information about a suspected stolen load that was in Patfontein, and that she had informed our supervisor also that we must proceed to Patfontein. You see that?
Yes.
So, these you obtained on the 2nd of May of 2023, as reflected at page 18.
Yes.
Is it your case that the EMPD had the necessary information to start investigations, internal investigations, and they would have obtained the very statements that you 3 months later, obtained from Mr. Mackenzie and Ms. Stalls, who confirmed that they are the police officers involved? And then based on the facts of the case, EMPD would take a decision whether or not to institute disciplinary proceedings. Is that your case?
Yes, it's my case. And to add more there, we have a good relationship with EMPD. When a case is open against any member of EMPD, they knock at our door to ask for more information, and we gladly give them those copies, even if it is in an initial stage. And when the case progresses, they need more information, they come to us. The person who usually communicate with us, who is sent, is Binel Musepe, who comes to the office most of the time. So our communication line is open to them at any given time.
Just so that we are clear, the complainant made a statement to EMPD.
Yes.
So how did this case end up with IPID?
Because it was now a case at Patfontein Police Station.
And then EMPD referred it to IPID?
The police, the Patfontein referred it to us now.
Oh, okay.
And who reported it to Patfontein SAPS? Is it EMPD or is it the complainant?
It will be EMPD because the SAPS in the first place refused to open the case for the complainant for the fact that they saw the truck being escorted by members of EMPD. So they didn't believe that the truck has been stolen because they said we saw the truck being escorted by Metro Police. So now EMPD is coming back with statement now to say, can you assist in opening the case? Now because it's law enforcement, now the case has to be cast now.
Okay. Maybe then explain how it works, because what we've seen with the blue lights case is that EMPD laid a complaint with the SAPS. And as I've understood the evidence, then from the SAPS, it came to IPID, this case. From the SAPS, they informed, IPID became involved. You did, and then an investigation was done into that matter, which resulted in a report and a negative recommendation to institute disciplinary proceedings. Why is this Patfontein case treated differently by IPID? Because a complaint, as you tell us, a complaint was laid with Patfontein SAPS by EMPD. Why does IPID not then do the same as you did with the blue lights, where you do your investigation and then you provide a report to EMPD on the basis of which they then institute disciplinary proceedings?
Let me clarify the blue light. The complainant, which was EMPD, came to IPID, and they didn't went to the police straight to complain. EMPD came to IPID to complain about the issue of blue light, and we informed them that we need statement. We cannot open a case without a statement. And then they provided such statement, And then the complainant himself, Commissioner Spies, filled in, assigned the statement and 3MA and 3MB, and then I took those documentation to the police station to open the case myself on behalf of him, because every document was there. So in the matter of Patfontein, the complainant himself was not assisted by the SAPS. He did go as usual, as a normal complainant, to go and open a case at a police station. But for reason known by the police that we saw the truck moving with EMPD, we do not think the truck was stolen. So we are refusing. So the complainant was not satisfied with that because he wanted his issue to be registered. He went to EMPD. So EMPD took down his statement with their powers. They went back to the police station to clarify that this statement, this docket must be open as previously not accepted by the police.
Yeah, what I'm trying to understand is at which point, so you because you say that EMPD had sufficient information, they could have instituted disciplinary proceedings.
Yeah.
I'm not quarreling with that. What I'm trying to understand is, does this mean, therefore, because the case was reported to EMPD and EMPD has the necessary information, does it mean IPID itself, when it becomes aware of this case, however you became aware of it, you don't do the investigation which ends up in recommendations to the city? That's what I'm trying to understand, how the process works.
Yeah, now I understand the question clearly. It will go the same way as Blue Light. After the completion of the investigation, we will do recommendation to EMPD, because the case cannot be finalized without the recommendation both to the department and the DPP. So it will go the same way. So currently the investigation is not yet finalized. That is why the report is not yet out.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Makaku.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. Mr. Magagula, that then takes us to paragraph 39 of your statement at page 10. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Please deal with paragraph 39.
In addition, the property was released to an individual who claimed to be the lawful owner by means of the SAP S299 official register, which is not an authorized document for use by EMPD members.
Can I ask you to stop there and go back to your annexure bundle, page 13, and I am looking at the statement of Ms. Kishali Stalls, page 13, 1-3.
Yes, I'm there.
I see at the bottom of page 1-3, Ms. Stalls notes the following, and I quote, "The stolen load with Kinshasa case was returned to the owner on a SAP 299. I'll stop there. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
And that is what you are referring to at your paragraph 39.
Yes.
Can you talk us through what an SAPS 299 is, this official register, and whether anyone investigating the whereabouts of the goods would have, I take it would have regard to that document at the pound, and that would, whether that would inform them as to who booked the load in and who checked it out to hand over to the supposed owner? Are you able to explain to us what one learns from SAPS 299 document?
SAPS 299 is a South African police register which of return of suspected stolen property to the owner. It is used by SAPS. It is not used by EMPD. And to release property to a lawful owner also, the property cannot be released by any member. It must be an officer. So what does SAPS 299 tell us is that, for instance, something is stolen at Edgar's, shoplifted at Edgar's, and Edgar's needs that property immediately. Then a police officer, after Edgar's must satisfy the police officer that this is my property, producing proof that this belongs to me. And then SAPS will make a copy of the lawful owner from Edgar's ID and the receipt of that item, that, because when you say that belongs to me, here is the receipt of my property, and then SAPS will make all those documentation and attach, and you sign that register and they release that property. So here what I see, Keisha Listol was make copies of this documentation and keep it to herself in the car and release when they found something in the street or they want to take one property to another to legalize the property, and then they sign that SAPS register and give it to someone. Here in this matter, it's fine. There is a...
Are you assuming that this is so, or do you have facts to back up what you say? That is, that officer Stores made copies and would then use those copies whenever she saw it necessary?
Yeah, there is in the docket, there is a copy of SAP 299, which she signed.
We'll try and locate it for you. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
As you explain, we'll try and locate that.
Please continue with your explanation.
Even SAPS members, in terms of this SAP 299, in the patrol vans, they don't keep those forms to themselves as SAPS members. So in this matter of casualty stalls, it can be seen that they are keeping these copies for their own reason, which is not lawful. It's unlawful to have that form. Because even in the SAPS, when the officer releases it, it must still be noted in the occurrence book. It doesn't result in filling up the 299 and it ends up there. It must be in the occurrence book so that after 2 months or 1 year, a person comes and complains, we still have the register to say, OB entry of that release of property is here.
To your knowledge, does the EMPD have an equivalent of the OB, the occurrence book?
Some of the units have, but it's not up to the standard of SAPS. The standard of SAPS, the occurrence book, when it finishes, they archive it. Another new book. So from previous year, if you want a certain month, they will just go to the year and month and pick up that book and look for that specific entry. So for EMPD, it's some of the units, they have it. It is not, I cannot call it officially, because if I can go to them that I need an OB of your success or your duty on, duty off for year 2025, I might not get it.
Thank you, Mr. Magagula. I was quickly flipping through Annexure TLM1. My challenge is I don't know what an SAP 299 looks like. And for the moment, I cannot find a document that, but as I understand, this is the complete docket. During tea, we will try and locate SAP 299. We were still at your paragraph 39 when I stopped you, line 3, where the second sentence starts now. Are you with me? Your statement, page 10.
Yes.
Paragraph 39.
Yes.
You had read the first sentence when I stopped you and I asked you to deal with SAP 299 official register, you remember?
Yes.
So we are now at your second sentence at line 3. If you can take it from there.
The investigation has not been finalized.
It's a, don't you say that there was also no specified?
No, there was also, yes.
There was also no specified location at which the alleged lawful owner received the consignment, in bracket goods. The investigation has not been finalized, and accordingly, recommendation to the EMPD and referral of the matter to the DPP have not been compiled. Such recommendation and referrals remain pending the obtaining of statement from key witnesses identified above.
Would you say the investigation has stagnated at this stage? That's my sense when I go through what you narrate about this specific case. Would you say the investigation has stagnated, or would you say you still have leads? I don't want you to tell us what those leads are if you do have them, but it seems to me the investigation has stagnated. Some people have disappeared, people that you would have loved to take statements from, and one that is available and whose statement you would like to obtain is refusing to give you that statement. So it's on that basis that I'm asking you, would you say the investigation has stagnated?
I will agree with you, but I hope to persuade this witness, which I believe at a later stage you will comply. Currently, he is afraid. I don't want to lie. To communicate with him, I communicate with him. He says he's afraid of the police. The question will be, hey, Magagula, you know the police, they will kill me. Then I don't want to be in that position. So I'm trying to show him that there is witness protection, all those type of resources that the state have to, that they can provide him with to be safe. So currently it is stagnated, it is not moving.
Besides offering witness protection, are there any other means of obtaining a statement from a recalcitrant would-be witness?
I do have a plan which, if I can reveal it, everyone is listening, the police officers will be knowing how Magagula is going to handle this matter. And then
my focus, and by no means imputing impropriety on you, but my question was about lawful means. So are you saying you do have lawful means?
Yeah, it is a lawful, lawful one, 100%, where the witness will be comfortable and it won't be forced, it will be voluntary.
Thank you, Mr. Makakula.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner.
Ms. Magagula, my concern is this case is from February 2023 and it's now February 2026. I don't know, maybe I see it differently. The statements you have from the owner and the truck driver and the two statements from the EMPD officers and the failure to use proper documents to release the property. And you say the manner in which it was impounded was also improper, how it was not recorded in the subs 13. Are those facts not sufficient to make recommendations of a disciplinary nature? Because I'm concerned that if you do manage to persuade this other witness to give you a statement, and it's now 2018, 5 years after the event happened, it will be difficult to, prosecute people because memory fades, documents go missing, people pass on in the process, the police officers retire in the process. In fact, in the case of Stalls, we are told that at the end of January 2025, she retired from EMPD. So do you not take those things into consideration, and do you not say, I know my investigation is not 100% complete, but I'm satisfied that with the 75% that I have, disciplinary proceedings can be instituted? Do you not look at it that way?
In terms of the, let me start with the DPP. The best way, as things stand, we have a prima facie case where I can start with the Director of Public Prosecution, making an inroad in the Director of Public Prosecution to find which charges I can prefer, because these members here, if you look at them, they want to run away. The manner, the modus operandi, because the case was registered as theft of the truck. Now, the truck, when you look at the transaction, it is not stolen, because at the end of the day, they have returned the truck to EMPD. So they wanted to kill that charge of a truck. They were very, very clever on that, but it's not cleverness. Now, they have a second problem. The truck was moving in good condition, and it was intended to go to Mpumalanga, Akonuk, which is about 500 kilometers from Padfontein. So it shows that the truck was in working condition. 3 days after the owner received the message that the truck is in EMPD pound, there is another charge now, which is the theft out of motor vehicle. Some parts of the truck on its own, some part were stolen. The owner has to go and buy parts of the truck to put it in order for the truck to be able to be drivable again.
Even diesel, as I read this.
There is a
900
part,
liters.
diesel also, but there are parts of the truck. There are parts of the truck that were stolen there. So it's theft out of motor vehicle, not theft of the truck, because that one, they tried to make a U-turn, because theft, it will be to deprive the lawful owner of his property permanently. So here they can come and say, we didn't want to deprive him permanently. We booked the truck in the pound. So in terms of that, I'll look at that area of that charge of theft out of motor vehicle. We have another challenge. I have another challenge in terms of the charges. Their aim the intention of the officers was not about the truck. It was about the property that was inside the truck. The property worth more than 1 million rand. That property that was stolen there, it was not recovered. They allege that they gave the lawful owner somewhere. The importance of the witness which hired the truck owner to transport these goods. That statement is very, very important in that aspect.
And, I'll take you back to your answer, I think, to my last question. How soon do you intend to use the means that you referred to? You said you do have other lawful means to obtain the outstanding statement. By when will you do that?
In the next 4 weeks.
Why that long?
I will be revealing that strategy.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Magagula, this is a follow-up on Commissioner Khumalo, but slightly different. You have listed certain shortcomings. For example, the use of the SAP 299 document. You say they should not have, it's a wrong document to have used, but also it should not be in their possession because it's not an EMPD document.
Yes.
That's one. Just keep note of this list. You've got that. And then there is the release of the goods according to stalls. The goods were released to an owner, but there's no record of who that person is. It just says the owner. You say that there was no case opened for impounding the truck and trailer. You also say there was no location, no specified location where the goods were released. And then I want to add to that list that there is no record, a record of the goods being released. We've got a statement saying the goods of the goods being impounded and then released, which I expect would happen if the police come into possession of any matter. They would record it properly. This is what they received, and then this is what they released and who they released it to. But that list of things that were not done and which you record in your statement seem to me not to, for them to be provable or to constitute charges for disciplinary purposes and to be proved as misconduct does not depend on a complainant statement. It's a matter that you have on record, and employees could be charged on that without even having a complainant present.
Yes.
A complainant as in the owner of the truck and the owner of the goods. Having said that, it seems to me then that the IPID should be able, or should have been able, and should still be able to make a recommendation to the EMPD to discipline on just these issues. Why has that not happened? Why have you not drawn conclusions on these lines that there's been an infraction of this and that and that and that shortcomings on Stolz's own statement? Here are the shortcomings or matters that are disciplinable, and we make a negative recommendation that she and Mackenzie be disciplined. Why has that not happened? And why can that not happen?
This question, the SC has canvassed it. We spoke about it a lot of times. The standard operating procedure of IPID doesn't allow us to make a recommendation without the completion of the case. So when we make recommendation, is when the investigating officer says that everything is here in the docket, and you compile your report to DPP and the stakeholder, which will be EMPD or SAPS. So we do these reports when we finalize the matter. Because the system, you must feed this recommendation to IPID system, electronic system. And it is signed by the provincial head that you have finalized the matter. So even when the auditors comes, they will say, in this matter, everything was done, and it was done on this date. So when you see our PDMs, after we have done our memorandum to DPP and SAPS, DPP might not be satisfied. The office was convinced that the matter is completed, but the DPP can say, no, Magagula, you have not yet finalized the matter. Go and do 1, 2, 3, 4. But already on our system, it will be finalized because we're convinced that everything was done. So I do not know if I answer your question. The predicament, even now when I live here, is because I can do the recommendation, but will my boss sign it because the standard operating procedure says that you must do recommendation when the matter is finalized?
I've not seen the prescript that you are referring to, but depending on the language, as presently advised, I feel that IPID is unduly constraining itself in this sense. If this is about the completion of investigations, I do not understand why you should tie EMPD investigations to investigations intended for the criminal process. If, on what you have done, you are of the view that enough is now in existence for purposes of pursuing a disciplinary process, why can't you say investigations are now complete insofar as the disciplinary process is concerned? And then you are able to fill in that electronic document, and you are able to convince your superior to sign off on that. Are you perhaps not unduly constraining yourselves? Are you perhaps not interpreting the prescript you are referring to wrongly?
Yeah, I agree with you, Commissioner, that as soon as we establish that there is a prima facie case, we should make
that is exactly my point.
Yeah.
Practically, you may easily establish that there is a prima facie case for purposes of the disciplinary process.
Yes.
Which means that with regard to that process, the investigation is complete. So why can't you close that off, seek your superior's signature, and fill in that form? And where it says, is the investigation complete? You say yes. Why can't you do that? Sitting here now, I don't understand why not, unless you explain it.
And maybe to add to that if it's quite conceivable that you may, I know you have just said to us that you have means of getting these witnesses, additional witnesses that have disappeared, but it's conceivable that you never ever find them. And the way you describe your standard operating procedure and your reasons for not having recommended yet disciplinary action to the EMPD, that could be the end of this case. because you never get those witnesses. And so you have officers where there's a prima facie case against them, which gets proven on a balance of probabilities, and in respect of whom your witness statements are irrelevant, right, for reasons that I've earlier discussed with you, but they actually walk scot-free because your standard operating procedure says until you've bedded everything together and you have a docket that goes to that's approved by the DPP, you may not recommend to the EMPD to institute disciplinary proceedings. Something is seriously wrong if that is what your standard operating procedure says or requires of you.
I agree.
But bear in mind that I say you may well be misreading that standard operating procedure. So do you want to comment on all this? I'm sure you still remember everything I said, and you remember what my co-commissioner, Commissioner Baloyi, has just said. Do you wish to comment on all that, please?
In terms of me maybe not understanding the standard operating procedure, I'll be saying it means that most of the caseworkers of IPs, if the point is that we are not understanding that standard operating procedure, including our boss who must sign the said recommendation, because it will be written, definitely so.
Yeah. You see, the simple point is this: what may have to be proved for purposes of the criminal case may not necessarily be the same as what needs to be proved in respect of the disciplinary process. So it just doesn't make sense that the two should be bound up together such that you cannot move on this one, even though everything that needs to be satisfied has been satisfied. It just doesn't make sense to bind them together like that. Do you get what I mean?
I get it.
Do you agree that you may possibly be misreading the standard operating procedure? I'm suggesting this to you not having read the procedure, but you accept that you may well, because otherwise,
I accept.
Otherwise, whoever framed it would have framed it very stupidly.
Yeah, I accept.
Thank you.
And do you accept, sorry, Ms.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you accept that if you have read it correctly, if what you're telling us is in fact what it is, then it's a major flaw in that standard operating procedures and it has to be reconsidered?
Yes.
So that it permits you to do what the chair is suggesting should be the way things are done.
Yes, I agree. And it will be fruitful.
Yeah, and we are not blaming you. We are not blaming, as we understand it, you are suggesting that this is how all of you operate, you know. Yeah. Ms. Silo, perhaps we should throw this one back at you for you to please follow up on the actual content and true reading of this procedure.
In fact, we've made a note. These are some of the documents when Mr. Kiafela Kai returns for the IPID stream. This would form part of his bundle.
Yes.
To talk generally about IPID and the SOPs and any other regulatory instruments they have. However, although I'm hesitant to tell the commissioners this, we have tracked it down. It's an SOP dated 25th March 2019, but I won't put it to the witness. The witness hasn't been confronted with this document. It would be grossly unfair, but we will pick up the issue. And I suggest so, confident that it need not detain us regarding being heard to the peculiarities of this particular case. Yes, it's still a live issue that must be answered in regard to the others. So if I may just deal with the witness, confining ourselves to this case, to address the very concern that the commissioners raise, that why could disciplinary processes not be initiated within EMPD? regarding this Patfontein matter, and to determine whether failure to do so was caused by the delays on the part of IPED. The reading of the statement doesn't fully answer that question, but the reading of the docket, I think to a large extent does. So perhaps if I take the witness through those documents.
Yes, Mr. Law.
Thank you. Before we do so, Chair, my very able attorney has assisted with SAP 299 or 229. I don't know whether it's experience in being arrested or in arresting or solving criminal cases, but that is to be found in TLM 1 at page 33. Mr. Magagula, if you go back to your annexures file, remember the annexure file we're working through, looking at your docket in this Patfontein matter? Please go to page 33. Are you there?
Yeah.
I'm advised, and I see at the top right corner, unfortunately, the page number is imprinted over that it reads SAP as 299. Is that that SAP register we spoke about earlier?
Yes, it's the register that I spoke about.
Okay, the chair had asked us to locate it, so it is located. So I don't know if the chair would like to consider some questions on this SAP 299 that Ms. Kisha Stolz references in her statement to say the goods were returned to the lawful owner.
Not at this stage.
Not
I'll
at this
see if I
stage.
can.
Then just
apply
to
my
note it
mind
for
to
the record.
Thank you.
Then, Mr. Magagula, in order then to deal with the issue that the commissioners engaged you on regarding delays in institution of disciplinary processes within EMPD, we need to run forward into your statement, and I would like you to turn to page 19 of your statement. At page 19, paragraph 85. You deal at paragraph 85 with ongoing, you say, communications with the institutions whose members we investigate. You see that?
Yeah.
On page 19, you see the last line of page 19 at 85?
Yes, I see.
Please read that last sentence, starting with all these institutions and then continuing overleaf.
All these institutions do not require a directive from IP to initiate their own disciplinary investigation. Where the institution become aware of the relevant facts, they act on them through their own internal processes.
And then, bearing that in mind, please turn to page 42 of the annexure bundle. At page 42, I find a statement, again, on the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Integrity and Standards, form. This, if one goes forward to page 45, is signed on the 19th of February, 2023. Now, we must remember that the incident occurred on the 8th of February, 2023. And it would appear that EMPD was able to obtain a statement from Ms. Stolz, who's one of their members involved in this incident, on the 19th of February 2023. She relates the incident as she remembers it or knows it, and just to highlight a few aspects, at page 42, line 3, second sentence starts, regarding this load. Allegedly, the load was meant to be in Congo, but had been stolen and was currently on a plot in Patfontein. If I go further, at page 43, for instance, about midway or just slightly below midway of that page, there is a sentence, she's talking about the shop owner, and we know now it's Yusuf. She says, I know who the person was referring to. This is, I guess, the informant she's talking to, allegedly, and was aware that Yusuf had been arrested in 2022 for possession of stolen goods and possession of stolen trailers. Then at 43, then she goes into detail about this vehicle, this truck, and her own visit to the pound. Midway, page 44, she states, I went to Boksburg Pound and explained to the officer that the owner of the truck was a person by the name of Yusuf, and to please call me if Yusuf arrived so that I could arrest him. During the week, I was informed by the EMPD Pound office that someone had come to the pound to collect the horse and trailers, but it was not Yusuf, but the officer refused them to collect. 3 lines down, I refused, and I have also been contacted by persons not known to me on behalf of Yusuf to release the horse and trailer for 20,000 bribe. I refused. Yusuf is wanted by a colonel from Crime Intelligence Germiston for questioning regarding the theft of goods as well as truck hijacking. I'm to contact the colonel as soon as I have Yusuf in custody. And then it goes on at page 45, where she alleges that Yusuf wants to bribe her and has threatened her and her career. Now, this statement she makes on the 19th of February, 2023, do you confirm that?
I confirm.
If you go further at page 46, it's a similar statement, again on an EMPD, Integrity and Standards letterhead. This is by Adrian Mackenzie.
Yes.
The other officer we know was involved. On this, in this document, at the page 46, Mr. Mackenzie notes, on 8th February 2003, at about 23 hours, I was contacted by Constable Stolz, who informed me that she had received information about a suspected stolen load that was in Patfontein, and that she had informed our supervisor and that we must proceed to Patfontein. When we arrived at the plot, we saw a horse and 2 trailers. Do you see where I'm reading?
Yes.
Incidentally, before I continue, do you know who their supervisor is?
Their supervisor, I know him as Julius Mkwanaze after their arrest in the Benoni case.
Okay. Then if we go to page 48, then he gives his version of the incident. At page 48, importantly, the start of the page reads, we reached Boksburg where the owner of the load, who gave proof of ownership and relevant documents, took possession of his stock. And similarly, like with Ms. Stolz, no, not similarly, Ms. Stolz deposed to this on the 19th of February to EMPD, and Mr. Mackenzie on the 24th of February, 2025. Now, in your view, considering that by that time EMPD was armed with the complainant statement made to EMPD, less than 2 weeks later, EMPD had obtained the statements of the implicated officers and also regard being held to the content of their respective statements. Was that not sufficient for EMPD to trigger its own internal processes and start an disciplinary investigation, as you say at paragraph 85 at the bottom, that all these institutions do not require a directive from IP to institute their own disciplinary investigations? Where the institution becomes aware of the relevant facts, they act on them through their own internal processes.
Yes, they have enough evidence to start their own disciplinary action. Even before I took over the investigation, they have all the facts. Because this person who obtained this statement works in that unit, which takes disciplinary action against members. Because it says, if you look at the top, integrity and standard. So this person is from that unit. So here they were supposed to have taken, they are aware even before IP knew about this matter.
And if I can take you then further to page 90 of the same file, we're still in TLM 1.
Page 9?
9090.
Okay.
And this document is on the EMPD and City of Ekurhuleni letterhead. It is directed to the head of Detective Services, South African Police Service. It states that it's from Owen Prinsloo, investigator. It's dated the 13th of February, 2023. And my understanding of this document is, I read, the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department hereby requests a copy of the following docket, gives its details, Police Station, Patfontein Subs. It continues, the COE Investigation Unit requests the information to assist in completing the internal investigation. EMPD reference number is as given. And then, thank you in advance. It's signed by Owen Prinsloo, COE. I take it that the City of Ekurhuleni Investigation Unit, EMPD. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that.
I read that to be conclusive proof that EMPD was fully aware of the facts and that, in fact, EMPD had initiated some form of investigation and had appointed an investigating officer for this purpose. Would that be your understanding as well?
Yes, I agree.
To your knowledge, do you know whether or not EMPD ever initiated or firstly concluded this investigation and or initiated any disciplinary proceedings against the implicated officers?
I will say I do not know currently what is happening. What I know is that Warrant Officer Kirsten recently asked copies for this docket again from me, from Integrity and Standard, and I provided here with the copies of this docket. So since from that time, this was in an initial stage of the investigation, and she recently asked me now. So I don't know at which time, and when I asked her through WhatsApp, what was the purpose for now? She said it was because of civil claim. So according to my experience with EMPD, now I'm talking my experience with EMPD, the cases that we have done. When we give them copies, they open their DR, they put them there, and we run with our investigation criminally until the member is found guilty. Those are the successes that they will have departmentally, not because of their investigation. Even if we have provided them with the copies, remember, criminally runs for a long time. There is a serial rapist in EMPD, which Nomsama Sugu was doing. That case ran for many years, and that serial rapist was found guilty, so he was given multiple life sentences. That member was still working for those years. The member was a white officer by the name of Cummings. He was raping minor children. It's on record, this one. But his dismissal was not because of their departmental. It was because of the criminal conviction. There was another case that I have done of a white male officer who was working at K9, also raping a child of his friend. He was also found guilty. Binel was, every time she was with me giving her the copies, but today she will say I didn't give her. She was following me even in Alberton. That member was found guilty at Palm Ridge Court. It was the time that member was dismissed. Not by their internal processes. They will have our copies, but nothing will happen. They will park it there. So they are depending on the outcome of ID criminal investigation. So some of the copies that we give them, those copies when we give them, they use them to wage a war against each other. Because when we give them copies, it is allegation against a certain member. So those copies, when it is kept there, they know, oh, when you have a case of assault or whatsoever. If he does something, they will say, we will expose you, remember. So it is not for a good purpose. That unit, those people that were working there, they were working there for the longest time. So each and everything that is happening there, it is because of them. So when there are failures that must be pointed, they will be pointing, hey, Magagula and IP, they don't give us this. We can go as far as 2020 and looking at their departmental hearing, the members that were dismissed, and we look why they were dismissed. They were dismissed because of their departmental hearing or because of criminal conviction.
So the two examples that you give, the rape convictions, had IP furnished EMPD with negative reports?
Yes, those.
I would imagine that it had.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. And who would those negative reports have been addressed to?
Mr. Henny Erasmus and Binel Mutsipe, they are the longest serving member in that unit. So also we can also verify through our...
And you would have chosen them because?
I have chosen...
that is, you would have sent to them because?
The investigation was finalized.
No, I'm asking, there's a hierarchy within the EMPD. There's the chief, there are deputies, and all the way down. So I'm asking who you addressed the negative reports to, and you mentioned the two officers. So I'm asking, why did you choose those two officers when you otherwise have this hierarchy within the EMPD?
A recommendation to EMPD goes to that office. So the chief is mandated that office of Colonel Erasmus to deal with our recommendation.
So you always address to that office?
To that office.
Oh, all right, thank you.
And perhaps just to close that, if you look at page 20 of your statement, paragraph 88, you state that you have, and this is in a slightly different context, but just to understand who Mr. Erasmus is, you state that you also have ongoing engagements with Mr. Henny Erasmus from the EMPD Integrity and Standards Unit regarding matters under investigation now. Following on the chairperson's question, who within the Integrity and Standards Unit what role does Mr. Henny Erasmus play?
He is the commander of the Integrity and Standard.
Is he the head of that unit? Do you know him to be such?
He is the head of that unit.
And as I saw from the documents that we were looking at and the statements given to the EMPD, like at page 64, it reads Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Integrity and Standards. So that would be his office taking these statements and the complaints.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioners, I've eaten into your tea time.
How long do you think we're going to be today, or how much longer?
With him?
I'm not suggesting we should not take the tea break, no.
No. I think we just, in fact, if it is okay, we can just wrap up then on the status of this case.
No, I was not suggesting that.
All right. I was hoping to finish by 4.
By 4, all right.
But regarding the level of engagement, maybe that is too hopeful on my part. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be engagement, just...
Let's adjourn and resume at 11:30.
11:30, thank you, Chair.
and ultimately leave customers without electricity.
So your final message then to communities, Amanda?
So I think for me, firstly, I'd like to request customers that they must allow us to please go into the communities and install the smart meters, because we are experiencing challenges in some of the areas where we have engaged and had education and awareness around smart meters. But when we go into the community and we want to start, you'll find that there's resistance. So we do urge them to please allow us to go in and install the smart meters. I also want to say to customers as well that they can actually get themselves out of load reduction. Remember, if they purchase the electricity, they stop tampering with their meters and bypassing meters, the energy losses reduce. And as a result, then we remove those communities from load reduction. But also we do want to say thank you to our customers who are purchasing electricity from the registered vendors, and also to those who are not buying electricity from registered vendors. We want to encourage them to please start doing so.
Thank you for sharing Eskom's perspective and plans with us. That is Amanda Kriti, who is the Gauteng distribution spokesperson for Eskom.
Every day, Rand Water's underground pipelines run through servitudes across the country, carrying millions of liters of water to our communities. But when people build too close, it's called encroachment, and it's very dangerous. If a pipeline bursts, it can flood homes, destroy property, and in many cases, people lose their lives. That's why Rand Water marks its servitudes with blue and white beacons, a clear warning to stay clear and safe. When we protect Rand Water's servitudes, we protect our communities too. Rand Water, finding new ways.
The sea robbers are on a real mission to go back to their days of happy people. But Bahlabane Bantwa say they are only going to Orlando Stadium to collect 3 points. This is the Betway Premiership. Nisekazini forever. Catch Orlando Pirates versus Marumo Cannons this Saturday, 14 February at 2:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then at 3:30 p.m. on SABC radio stations. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Today we celebrate the power of radio to inform, inspire, and connect the world under the theme Radio and Artificial Intelligence, where timeless storytelling meets the future of innovation. This is World Radio Day, a reminder for the voices that bring us closer, the stories that shape our lives, and the conversations that matter. At SAFM, we are proud to be your trusted companion, keeping you informed and engaged every single day. Happy World Radio Day from SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
If you love live music in beautiful spaces, Symphony by the Water is one to diarize. It takes place at Midmar Dam on Saturday, the 7th of March, 2026, featuring the KZN Philharmonic Orchestra with an incredible lineup of South African artists. Tickets are available now at Web Tickets. Pick and Pay, exhibition and stall spaces are also available at 600 Rand. And for more information, you can follow Symphony Waters on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Sanibonani dumelang absheni lochani Mzansi igama lami nguZanele untomdodwa izinhluzaza, but you can simply call me uZanele Mthombeni. I am your new host khona yi Ekaslami, the TV show that profiles some of your absolute faves, celebrities. I'm talking wena actor, musician, bona politician, benekanti zonke bonke zikhona, and we take them to Ekasi and find out who exactly they were before all the glitz, glam, lights, cameras, and action. Oh, bye, Uzi. Uzi, mutokulayo. Ulakamnani.
Ekaslami, Tuesday at 6 on SABC 1. Mzansi for sure.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. Easy to apply, no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
This is Dula Sizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief.
Just your overall impressions of how far along we went in getting answers to some of the questions you have on day one of Paul O'Sullivan's appearance before your committee.
The best bet yesterday when I said to him, is there anyone that can vouch for this? Is there anyone that can tell us more about your time? He couldn't actually tell us about that. But I guess that's where it all started. It started with him being a reservist in SAPS, and that's where he got his fingers into the cookie jar and things just got completely out of hand. 1 minute he's got a degree, next minute he doesn't have any formal qualification, so I'm not sure where we're at. I specifically asked him yesterday, do you have any degrees, do you have any qualifications, and he said no. And 5 minutes later, the same question was posed to him and he said yes.
Geraldine James is Action SA.
Big stories of the day on the Morning Brief. As the nation seeks answers, SAFM brings you live, uninterrupted coverage of Parliament's Ad Hoc Committee investigating allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. You can also stay up to date with the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference, and corruption in the criminal justice system. Stay informed, stay connected. Tune in live on SAFM 104 to 107 and follow the coverage across our digital platforms live on Facebook, X, and YouTube at SAFM Radio. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. You are listening to The Full Circle,
a space where generations come together in conversation that seek to spark curiosity, inspire innovation, and feed the curious mind. For arts, culture, and robust conversations, join me every weekday between 1 and 3 p.m. on The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga as we explore the stories, lessons, and conversations that guide us back to self.
On the news headlines, the theft of a truck and its load in Potfontein, Benoni, east of Johannesburg, is under the spotlight in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria. This follows allegations.
Conclude on this matter, just to report back to Commissioner Baloyi. I've had a discussion with a witness regarding the question posed by Commissioner Baloyi. As I understand it, the witness can only inform the commissioners how they do it. As to whether or not that is a function of misinterpretation of the SOP, it's a matter that requires analysis of the SOP. But just generally that they await the conclusion of all investigations and then simultaneously issue the negative report or positive report, as the case may be, and the memorandum to the DPP. As the witness testified, I think, earlier, he appreciates the difficulties even we had and the logic behind that. But it is stated that that's how it's done. I propose, therefore, that we stand down the issue. We have noted it. And Mr. Kiefela Kai, upon his return, with reference to the SOP and any other regulatory mechanisms, will direct us as to whether that's how it's intended to be done. Then we can engage with the question of whether changes must be effected to the SOP or whether it's not required by the SOP, it's just a misinterpretation by the investigators as they undertake these investigations. If that would be acceptable to Commissioner Baloyi.
It's acceptable to the chair, that's right.
Well, the question was yours, ma'am, so, and the chair, of course. That is the proposal.
I'm happy with that. Are you stepping off this?
No, I just needed to report back on the question that we'd said we'll come back to after tea. You remember, Mr. Magagula, that before we broke for tea, we had run ahead in your statement to page 85, where you make the point that, in truth, the institutions such as...
You mean paragraph?
Paragraph 85, not page 85, page 19, where you make the point that, in truth, the institutions do not have to await a decision by IPID to determine for themselves whether to invoke their internal mechanisms to start disciplinary investigations. You remember that?
Yes, I remember.
Okay, we had just run ahead. Now we need to go back to where we were and find our place and take up your testimony from there. And for that purpose, I would like us to go back to page 11. And at page 11, from paragraph 43, you deal with the status of the case. I know that the commissioners asked you some issues regarding that status of the case, but I don't think it has been formally put on record. So if you could just read into the record the status of this case, and then we'll move on to the next case. Thank you.
Current status of the case is still under investigation. I'm trying to obtain the statement of the owner of the goods and owner of the plot. I'm struggling to locate the owner of the goods, as we have so far not been able to trace him. Although the owner of the plot is available, he is reluctant to provide a statement citing that he's scared of the police, as they were the perpetrators of the crime.
Thank you. Now we are ready to move off this case. Commissioner Baloyi.
Let me ask, it may be again, Ms. Silo, that this is something that will be canvassed with Mr. Kiafelakai.
Yes,
but I would like to hear the witness's view of it. Now, in Stolz's statement, she explains how she gets involved with this. She says she got information from an informant that there was stolen property at a certain place or plot. Now, that seems to me to be a matter that ordinarily would be handled by the SEPs and not a municipal police. I don't recall what the evidence was about the power on this kind of issue, about the powers of MPS. What is, in fact, the powers of the MPS when it comes to matters which are not strictly municipal matters, but are criminal conduct that seem ordinarily belong to the SAPS? Are you able to comment on that?
To comment on this, if I understand the question correctly, members of EMPD, they have the same powers as SAPS, but they do not have investigative powers. They cannot tell us that we're investigating this and this. If they receive such information that there is stolen goods at a certain place, they have a right to go there and seize the property and arrest the suspect. And they must register the case at that specific place where they found those things. You cannot find things in Patfontein and decide to open a case in Germiston. It doesn't work. So everything, it is where you found the properties in, the relevant police station must be used.
Okay, so is your answer that there is nothing wrong with that Stolz receives information from an informant, as she says, an informant called her, and then she proceeded to the place, and assume everything was legitimate. Then let's assume everything was was done legitimately and was done according to procedure. There would be nothing wrong with an informant in telling Stolz there's stolen goods at this property, and then Stolz proceeding to that property, arresting, taking possession of the property, and then going to record it and impounding in accordance with procedures. You're saying there would be nothing wrong with that. It falls within their mandate.
Yes, there is nothing wrong with it.
Thank you. Thanks, Ms. Sil.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Mr. Magagula, I think then we are ready to move to our next case, which starts at your page 12. And this is Benoni Case 215/07/2022. And it starts at your paragraph 46. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
If you can then talk to this case, starting at paragraph 42.
Benoni Case 215.
Apologies, 46, paragraph 46. Please continue.
Benoni Case 215 of 7/2022. This is a kidnapping and corruption case. The docket is attached as Annexa TLM2. The complainant alleged that on 6 July 2022, at approximately 11:45, he was at his workplace with a friend of his employer. His employer was not present as he had gone to Fortsburg to purchase stock. 2 male EMPD officers and 1 female EMPD officer arrived at the shop. The officers asked the complainant about his employer's whereabouts, and he informed them that his employer was not around. The police then began searching the shop and allegedly stole a large quantity of cigarettes, placing them on the ground. They inquired about the invoice for the cigarette, and the complainant explained that the invoice was with his employer. The EMPD officers reportedly packed the cigarette into 4 large boxes and 1 large China bag. This China bag is usually referred to Mashangan bag. The employer's friend was instructed to leave. The employer's friend was instructed to leave and immediately complied. During the incident, one of the officers took a cell phone belonging to the complainant employer. The EMPD officers also disconnected the CCTV camera and instructed the complainant to close the shop. They ordered the complainant to board a police vehicle driven by a male African officer. The cigarettes were loaded into another vehicle driven by the female white EMPD officer. The information of evidential value has been obtained, such as witnesses' statement, exhibit register as a petition, photo album, as well as the suspect warning statement. The matter was discussed with the public prosecutor based on the evidence collected, and the prosecutor directed that the alleged suspect should be arrested. The arrest was effected on the 10th March 2023, and the accused appeared before court for their first appearance on the 13th of March 2023. The matter was remanded on various court dates until the case reached trial stage and was set for the 18th February 2025. Subsequently, and on 18 March 2025, the matter was provisionally withdrawn on the day due to the complainants not showing interest on the matter. All court appearances are recorded on Annexa TLM2.
If you could stop there, and perhaps let's have regards to Annexure TLM2. And now we go to the big file, the Annexure file that we're looking at prior to tea break. And it starts, TLM2 starts from page 93.
TL2.
Page 93, it should have a flag marked TLM2.
Yeah, I see TLM3.
Just look at
the top right?
Yeah,
the top one.
The page numbering at the top.
The red page numbering. Top right corner. You'll see 93. Look for 93.
Okay, I got it. 93.
Page 93. And you will see that just before page 93, there is a page that is, and onto that page, a flag is attached. Do you see that? A flag. Just before page 93. The page before 93 has got a flag.
Yes.
Now, if you look at that flag, you'll see it's got a number, TML2.
Yes.
So that's how we read the annexures.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what you suggest is TLM2, and that is the case docket in the case that we are discussing currently.
Yes.
Once again, before we deal with the detail of this matter, I think, commissioners, we need to rearrange the pages. If you go to page 231, that should be the Forensic Science Laboratory report. And the commissioners will see from that it's then followed by page 232. It's some pictures extracted by the laboratory. However, if you go back to page 165 to page 211, you come across other pictures, but not attached to this particular document. These documents belong to the report from page 232, so the commissioners would have to remove them from their current place and to bring them here. The numbering will be a bit out, because when the copies were ran from the docket, that's where the pictures were positioned. When one considers the actual report starting at page 226, the laboratory report, and in particular from page 227 at the bottom, there is a long list of these photographs that are listed there. But the photographs that immediately follow are fewer, and the other photographs seem to be, misfiled at page 165 to page 211. So if you could just the commissioners would we will come back, we'll come and readjust your
rather take us to whichever you want to take us to. Sorting out that, we'll leave that to you.
Okay.
Yes.
We then, Mr. Magagula, do you confirm that my interpretation of the docket is correct?
Yes.
Okay. We will make the necessary changes to the commissioner's files. You indicate that in this matter, I think best if we go to the second set of pictures, because I think it speaks more to what you have just said. And for this, I'll refer you to page 232. Page 232 and following. And you stated that from these pictures, the specific members of EMPD can be seen in the shop of the complainant.
Yes.
So they are currently being projected, and we'll just scroll through them. Do you confirm that these are the members of EMPD who undertook this quote-unquote operation?
Yes.
I note from your statement, you say that the investigation was completed and that the matter is currently in court. What I could not locate is your IPID report to EMPD to initiate the internal investigations for disciplinary purposes. It's not in the docket. Do you confirm it's not?
I confirm.
Was it ever filed with EMPD?
It was not filed.
And the reason for that being?
The reason for this matter it was not completed through decision. it was completed as an arrest. So when we arrest, from the word go, when we arrest, we are not making any recommendation to the DPP and the EMPD. As a result, you will find out those reports are not there. So in this one, when I make a straight arrest, the person who will be responsible for making the recommendation, it will be the senior public prosecutor to the director of public prosecution, because each and every case where a member of South African police or EMPD is arrested, the docket has to go to the DPP. So at that stage, the person who does that recommendation, it will be the senior public prosecutor.
So how do you suggest the EMPD gets to learn that it should initiate internal investigations against these members?
As I said, in this matter, we communicate with EMPD. EMPD, on this matter, they were aware of it when I effected an arrest. I effected an arrest in the boardroom of Mr. Rivo's Peace. He was present. Even when I was at court during bail application, there was a communication between him and me, because it was the same day when Yako Hanekom was killed, because it's when I received call that Yako has been killed, and I was at court. He even sent me certain video of court gathering, some of the people who were in court, sent by Mr. Rivo to me. He was not there. So someone took pictures, a video footage in court, and sent it to Mr. Spies, and Mr. Spies did send it to me. So he was aware of this incident, what was happening in this incident.
I want to ask, you say where you effect an arrest and the senior prosecutor makes a recommendation to prosecute, you don't do your normal IPID investigation and a recommendation. Is that because of the standard operating procedure, or is that a decision that you make on your own?
It is the standard operating procedure. If we effect an arrest, when I come back with the docket, that system that I was talking about, we must feed it. It will ask you, it was an arrest, or immediately when I click arrest, it will say this matter is completed on the system. That system is called flow-centric.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Khumalo. Now, did you share with the EMPD any parts of this docket which would provide the facts necessary for them to initiate the investigation? And if so, when did you share that information and how? Besides you arresting them in the presence of Commissioner Spies and other senior personnel?
I shared the copies through that mutual understanding because they asked for it and we give them. I want to be clear, I did not make them to sign for it in any documentation that they received this. I didn't do that, but I gave it to them, Ms. Motsepe.
So when you say you gave it to them, is it the contents of the docket in its entirety or some documents from the docket?
The contents of the docket.
And you gave that to Ms. Motsepe?
Yes.
Now, this matter, as I understand it, arose in July 2022, and I think the arrests were on the 10th of March 2023. We are now in 2026. Can you recall when you gave Ms. Motsepe this docket?
In 2023.
In 2023?
Yeah. Immediately when incident happened is when they come knocking to our doors and we provide. When there is new development,
yes,
whether it's a video footage or she will ask us to provide them with that video footage. If it is in forensic, I will inform her that the video footage is still in forensic. I can provide. If I have a working copy, I'll provide a working copy.
And just perhaps lastly, for the record, are you aware of a complaint from EMPD or any of its senior managers that the EMPD does not have information regarding this matter and therefore are not in a position to take steps against their members? Are you aware of such a complaint to IPID?
I'm aware because I heard, but when you look at it, when I effected arrest, they were present. So I do not know if they say that they are not aware whilst I effected that arrest in their own offices. I wonder what they are meaning.
And I think Commissioner Spies did testify to the fact that they were arrested in the boardroom in his personal presence, at least. He was there. So are you suggesting that that was at least sufficient for EMPD to take an initiative to establish why it is they are being arrested and to seek such information as they require to take disciplinary action?
Yes.
Okay. You had dealt with your paragraph 51 and you had informed us that this matter now is provisionally withdrawn from the court roll.
Sorry, Ms. Selo?
Yes.
These pictures, I mean, there are names of people that are in the statement of the implicated person. You projected photographs. Is Mr. Makagula able to say to us who are those people in those pictures? You can project any of them, but I think of interest is the three people that are implicated.
The first picture there,
there's a screen closer to you.
I see Keisha Listos.
Okay, we'll try to move on to the next.
Are you just before that? Are you referring? There's somebody in a T-shirt with a star on the chest, and then there's somebody in uniform.
The one in uniform, I'm not clear who he is. I can see him, but with Keisha Listos, I can see it there.
Mr. Magagu, I don't understand. Yeah. There are two people on the picture. There is a male in what appears to be a gray T-shirt, and to his right is a person who appears to be female, and that person seems to be wearing a uniform. Am I seeing properly? Is that what you also see?
Yeah, I can see two.
Okay, now of the two, please identify the one that you say is Ms. Stolz.
Is the white female wearing uniform.
Okay.
If I may be of assistance, maybe if you go to page 233, if we could project that, I think it might be a clearer picture if it's the same person.
Yeah, this is Keisha Listos in this picture.
Okay, thank you.
And I think we'll have to go to, I suggest, page 165. And following. I don't know if you can recognize the gentleman there.
This gentleman, I recognize him as Adrian Norman Mackenzie, and I see he's receiving a packet.
We can go forward. The next pictures also.
Sorry, to try and help again. If you go to page 36, there seems to be a clearer picture. 236. Is Mr. Mackenzie in that picture?
Behind Keisha Lee stalls is Adrian Norman Mackenzie.
Thank you. Thanks, Ms. Silla.
Thank you, ma'am. To go back then to 165.
Sorry.
127.
Mr. Magagula, we're at 165, page 165. We will move on to page 167. I see there the person you identified as Mr. Mackenzie. Am I correct?
Yes.
And the person with his back to the camera wearing what looks like a black jacket. I see what appears to be EMPD on his back, his or her back. And please hold that thought if I move to page 169. There are two pictures there, and it would appear to be the same person, this time leaning over, and I think the letters EMPD are clearly visible. Do you see those?
Yeah, I saw those three individuals.
Do you know the person wearing this outfit marked EMPD?
Yes, this is Bafana Twala. This is the person who recorded, exhibited Benoni Police Station.
Ms. Sillo, aren't you able to find a picture that shows the person's face?
You could.
You may request
Should we? Yes, let's adjourn. Let's adjourn.
Good afternoon. It's 12 o'clock on Friday, the 13th of February. A very warm welcome to Update at Noon here on SAFM. Leading the conversation, I'm John Gericke in for Sakina Kamwendo. Coming up this hour.
Currently, he's afraid. I don't want to lie. To communicate with him, I communicate with him. He says he's afraid of the police. The question will be, hey, Magagula, you know the police, they will kill me. Then I don't want to be in that position.
That's IPID's Tulani Magagula, who says the investigation in the EMPD case is stalled because a witness fears being killed by police despite being offered witness protection. And today is also World Radio Day. We get an update at noon. We unpack the relevance of radio in the age of artificial intelligence, and we will, if the commission resumes, we'll go back there and bring that to you live. As always, share your views with us. 41391 charged at R1.50 in SMS. You can call us on 086 000 2032, and our WhatsApp voice note number is 082 692 3909. Plenty more coming up on today's edition of Update at Noon. Let's get the latest news with Undela.
Thank you, John. On the top stories, Madlanga Commission hears of a truck theft in Benoni and accused in Palapala farm case expected back in court today. For SAFM News, I am Wandalambana, and a very good day. The theft of a truck and its load in Patfontein, Benoni, east of Johannesburg, is under the spotlight at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria. This follows allegations that officers from the Ekurhuleni Metro Police's Specialized Services Unit committed the theft in 2023. The unit was apparently under the command of now suspended Deputy Police Chief Commissioner Julius Mkhwanazi. Police watchdog IPID Assistant Director Thulani Magagula has told Commissioner Sesi Baloyi that the EMPD brought the matter to their attention.
And who reported it to Patfontein Subs? Is it EMPD or is it the complainant?
It will be EMPD because the SAPS in the first place refused to open the case for the complainant for the fact that they saw the truck being escorted by members of EMPD. So they didn't believe that the truck has been stolen because they said we saw the truck being escorted by Metro Police. So now EMPD is coming back with statement now to say, can you assist in opening the case?
The three people accused of stealing $580,000 at President Cyril Ramaphosa's Palapala farm in Bilabila will be back in the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo today. A financial investigating officer will continue to testify. The officer previously said that one of the accused, Emmanuela David, received 9 million rand in his different bank accounts after the alleged theft in February 2020. Rendani Ralipaso reports.
The financial investigating officer also told the court that David's financial transactions were scrutinized diligently following the theft. He also told the court that David received money into his various accounts through different methods, including electronic funds transfers and cash send. The investigating officer is the state 19th witness since the trial began. The media is not allowed to name the witness. The three accused in the case are facing multiple charges, including housebreaking, theft and money laundering. I am Rendanera Lepasa in Polokwane.
Residents of Melville in Johannesburg have called on the city to come up with a concrete plan to address the current water crisis. The frustrated residents are on Main Road to protest against the crisis. They have accused the city of poor water management.
We don't want more empty talk, we want action. And, it's not just the people here today. The people who are most affected in our suburb, our neighbours, the people who can't afford Jojo tanks, the people who don't have cars who are carrying 50 litres of water every day from the pumping stations.
Yeah, no, so it feels very ridiculous that we have been without water for 25 days. So I'm in the unfortunate areas where we haven't had water. And this is not the first time, that's another thing. It's also been throughout of last year.
The National Taxi Alliance says it will ensure that learners are safe amid concerns of possible attempts to remove them from its taxis. This as operators affiliated to the Greater Gauteng Learner Transport Organisation embark on a stay-away. The organisation is protesting, but it calls traffic officers abuse and impounding of its members' vehicles for unpaid fines. The Taxi Alliance says while it respects the right to strike, it has asked Scholar Transport operators not to disrupt its services. The spokesperson, Theo Malele, says their patrollers are on standby to ensure that passengers are not harassed.
We will be operating within our operating geographic network as prescribed by the operating licenses. Our operations will be seamless and smooth today, and we will be vigilant, and we hope that everything goes smoothly. 3 people died in a crash on the I-573 Moloto Road in Wachendrift, Pretoria. A minibus taxi collided with a car in the crash, which happened this morning. Gauteng Traffic Police spokesperson Silo Marimane has this message for motorists.
We are appealing to motorists to exercise care in our province as it is raining and some of our roads may be wet.
Recapping the top story, the theft of a truck and its load in Patfontein, Benoni, east of Johannesburg, is under the spotlight at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria. This follows allegations that officers from the Ekurhuleni Metro Police's Specialized Services Unit committed the theft in 2023. I am Ondelambara for SAFM News.
You are listening to John Gerika on SAFM.
7 minutes past midday, you with SAFM. Let's go back to the Commissioner. They have resumed after that short break. IPID's Thulani Magagula is testifying.
Now, if we go further on, there are statements, I'm aware, in the docket that we don't necessarily have to do. Some of those statements statements, and the complainant's statement says that they arrived, the EMPD members arrived and left in vehicles, and I think they describe them as golf vehicles. VW Golf?
Yes, they were driving onto vehicles.
And if we go to page 189 to your recollection and following, are these the vehicles that you say you understand them to have been driving?
Yeah.
And I think perhaps, lastly, it would be to page 193. And at 193, at the top picture, I see two people leaning against a white vehicle with a third next to an open back passenger door. Do you see that?
Yes, I see it.
Are you able to recognize the people in the picture?
Yeah, the people on the picture, because I arrested them, I'll say those three members that were searching the shop.
Please say that again.
I'll say the three members that I see here is consistent with the other evidence that they are the one who were responsible of searching and packing cigarettes into the boxes.
And this would be, there are three of them now.
Bafana Twala, Adrian Norman Mackenzie, and Keisha Lee Stalls.
Okay. Well, the following pictures, I think, are about more of the same with the vehicles at different points. At page 211,